Very good. You play the excerpt well. I mean, you have it well under your command. We need to find our way into the spirit of it a little bit more now. She's not a nice girl. Far from it. There's this famous picture by Aubrey Beardsley of her holding the head of John the Baptist. The story is, she's the daughter, she's the stepdaughter of Herod Antipas. And he has this sort of fascination with her. And she, he's married to her mother, and she can't stand him. And in the basement, in the dungeon, they're keeping as a prisoner John the Baptist. And she has a sort of a fascination with John the Baptist. And so early in the scene, she calls John the Baptist to be brought up from the dungeon and to stand in front of him. And she's fascinated with him, and she goes up and she puts her arms around him and she kisses him, and he just curses her. And so she's angry now, and she says, take him back to the dungeon. And then in lurches her stepfather, Herod, and he's drunk. And he says, dance for me, Salome. And she says, what will you give me if I dance for you? He says, I'll give you anything you want if you dance for me. And so she dances, and she does this very sultry, exotic dance called the Dance of the Seven Veils, in which she is removing scarf after scarf. And finally, in some productions, there are no more scarves to remove. And so when she's done with the dance, she stands there in front of Herod, and he looks at her, and he's impressed, and he says, what would you like? And she says, I want the head of John the Baptist on a platter. And she gets it. So that tells you something about her personality. And the Salome theme itself is this very nasty theme. We hear it at the very beginning. It's la 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 li yadam. It's got this nasty barb in the middle of this tritone. And interestingly, also, he really wrote for the flute in an interesting way here, because most of the flute solos we ever play, like Daphnis or Afternoon of a Faun, they're all marked piano, and they're all very elegant, and they're all, fluty. This one sounds almost like an oboe. There's a kind of a dark, nasty undercurrent. It's supposed to be like a snake, I think. So you need to find a color which is darker and more powerful and more driven. And that's the nature of the solo. It can't be too pretty. It has to be kind of nasty sounding. Okay? And keep the tempo of this moving throughout. When you get into the middle of the section, lom, beater-lom, this exotic part. In fact, that's a string solo. And you and the clarinet are just moving along. And if it gets too slow, then we lose the, okay? So we'll take it right from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, Okay, good. And you make a lovely sound. I want it to be almost ugly. Particularly on that E natural, make it get bigger and stronger till it explodes into her theme. Mi, yada, yada. Right from where you play the scale going up. Oops, sorry, it's a little too early. But that's the sound. It has to be, very intense and very, it's got to hurt a bit. She's not a nice girl. Okay, once again. This phrase here, which is suddenly slower, you have to imagine, I mean, she's dancing, but she's a kind of an awkward teenage girl. And so she's sort of, you know, it's sort of, it's got that swinging quality to it. Play me that bar. Yeah, make the triplets a little bit later and a little bit more almost rushed. That's right, and then it goes back into tempo. It's just a bar out of tempo where she's doing this thing and then suddenly she has this, it's a physical gesture and you have to kind of imagine what that might look like in order to know how to play that. That was much better at the beginning, that was really nasty. Let's take it the second the second diatonic scale. Yeah, see, sorry, I'm getting very picky, but I mean, that's the thing about these little pieces, they're about getting picky, you know, so forgive me, but you come in too early on this first triplet. It's slightly hesitant, it's slightly held back. From the C sharp, two, three, 1, 2, 3, bigger, 1, 2, 3, big. 2, now keep it in tempo. 2, 3, 1, 2, softer. Now it's the piano. Dum, bum, 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 bum. Good. Yeah. So you see, it just keeps moving. Let's take it from where she has her first G sharp whole note. Okay. 2, 3. Softer. Right, and because it goes down to the very low part, you have to actually crescendo to the bottom so that it doesn't get lost, so that it maintains the same kind of intensity as it had at the top. Last time I played this was with Valery Gergiev conducting. You know him? I mean, you know, he wears this sort of half beard all the time, and he conducted this thing with a toothpick. He had a toothpick in his hand, and it was a very it was a filthy experience. I really enjoyed it. So, anyway, we play the whole thing again now that you had the spirit of it. That's right. You have to almost force the last few notes.
Okay.
Excellent. Very good. Much better.